This is KG Misra, and again I have come with the next part of the video for class 9th on the chapter of gravitation. Okay. In the last video, we have discussed about this variation of acceleration due to gravity due to different factors. Okay, and as I told you, today we are going to discuss about the mass and weight. So our first topic is mass. Before writing about it, some discussion is required. Okay, but let us write the definition first. You just note down the heading. Once you have noted, start writing the definition. The amount of material, content in the body is called mass. The amount of material content in a body is called its mass. Full stop. It is a scalar quantity denoted by small m oblique capital M. Denoted by small m oblique capital M means either you can denote by small m or you can denote by capital M. You are free to do that. Okay. And has SI unit kilogram. Okay. So it is the unit of mass. Now let me tell you what is mass actually is. You just look up. Suppose you are looking to this book. So this is a physics book of class 12th. Okay. See, it is made up of paper. So whatever is the amount of paper is being used to make this, that is called its mass. Okay. Clear? The amount of paper which has been used to make this is called its mass. Okay. Now, I have heard people saying that no, if we will take something from here to moon, then its mass will change. Just tell me, when mass will change? When the amount of paper will decrease from this book, or some amount of paper gets added to this, okay, increase, only then its mass will change. But if you are taking to the moon, will it happen that some amount of paper will decrease from it? Is it possible? No. Will it happen that some amount of paper will increase in this book by itself? No. So how the mass will change? The moral of the story is that, my children, the mass is not going to change at all. Okay, the mass will remain constant. Okay, if you're taking the object to anywhere, its mass is not going to change unless you are not trying to change it. Okay, so mass remains constant. Remember this. Either you're taking the object anywhere, unless it is broken, unless something added to it, it is not going to change by itself. Okay, so mass remains constant. Clear? It is the amount of material present in the body or content in the body. So you can see the gate of your house, okay, windows of your house, okay. It is made of wood, or it is made up of metals, okay, or it is made up of glass, okay. So amount of glass used to make it, or amount of wood which has been used to make it, or amount of metal which has been used to make the gate, okay, that is called its mass. Okay, clear? Suppose your mama asks you to bring 5 kgs of sugar from the neighbor shop. Okay, so it is the mass of the sugar. Okay, that's not the weight. 5 kg is the unit of mass, not the weight. Okay, okay, now after this we will go to the weight. Then what is weight? Okay, see what is weight. First put the heading. Okay, written the heading. Start writing the definition. The force of gravitation, or you can write the force of gravity. The force of gravity with which Earth attracts a body. The force of gravity with which Earth attracts a body towards its center is called weight of that body. Okay, full stop. It is a vector quantity. It is a vector quantity denoted by W. Denoted by W. And has SI unit Newton. Obviously, force has got unit Newton. So can you find the difference? This is a vector quantity, mass is a scalar quantity. You might be wondering, sir, what is the direction of weight? See, all of you know better than me. Okay? Where the weight is acting, you want to see. Okay, no problem. You can just do one thing. You ask your classmate, okay, to sit on your head. What will happen? Will you feel some force? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. In which direction? Towards right? Towards left? No. Then downward. Obviously, because weight is acting always downwards, towards the center of the earth. No, earth is trying to pull us downward, and that's why its direction is towards the center of the earth, downward always. Okay, everyone's weight is acting towards downward. Okay, it has got magnitude, it has got direction also. Okay, and also it follows the vector algebra. Okay, so weight is a vector quantity. Now, if it is the force with which earth is attracting, suppose a body is there whose mass is m. Okay, we want to find out the weight of that body. So what we have to do? Obviously, this is the weight. Okay, that is g m, that is mass of the earth, mass of that object by square of radius of the earth. This is the weight of the object. Okay, and now just tell me, can I write this like this? G m by r square into, can I write it like this? Okay. Now this force is weight according to definition. So this is weight. Okay. What is this? Is it a small g? And what is this? It is the mass of the object. Okay. So what we got? Weight is equals to mass of that object into acceleration due to gravity. This is the expression for weight. Weight is mass times acceleration due to gravity of the object. Okay. These two are vector quantities. This is scalar quantity. So this and this have got the same direction, that is downward. Okay. Because only then the two vectors can be equal, when their magnitude is equal as well as direction is equal. Okay. This is also contributing in magnitude part, but in direction, this has only direction, this has direction. So these two will have same direction, that is downward towards the center of the earth. Okay. Now you are clear what is weight? Okay. Now let's come to that part. Suppose someone takes it to the moon. Okay. Suppose you are taking this body of mass m to the moon. What will happen to it? Let's see. You know, moon is smaller than earth. Okay. And let me tell you, acceleration due to gravity of moon is equal to 1/6 of acceleration due to gravity of earth. Okay. Acceleration due to gravity on moon is equal to 1/6 of acceleration due to gravity on the surface of the earth. That means you can calculate the value also. 9.8 by 6. How much you will get? 6 by 6. Okay. How much is left? 3. Put the decimal, you will get 38. Okay. 6 is 36. Okay. 2 is left. Decimal is already there. You will get 0 as gift. 20. So 6 3 is 18. Okay. Okay. 6 3 is 18. So you will get 3333. Okay. Meter per second square. 1.63 meter per second square. That is acceleration due to gravity on the moon. Now if we will take this body on moon, then what is weight on the moon? This was the weight on earth. So weight on moon. Weight of the body on moon will be how much? Obviously, it will be mass of the body into acceleration due to gravity on the moon. Okay. And so what I will get? Obviously, I am not going to the numbers. I am just using the symbol. What is gm in terms of g? It is mg by 6. So what you are finding? The weight of that same object on the moon is becoming 1/6. Okay. So weight is decreasing. Okay. Because weight is the force with which the heavenly body attracts that body towards its center. So Earth is attracting with this force, that is mg, towards its center, and moon, as it is smaller, so it is attracting with lesser force, that is mg by 6 force towards its center. So obviously the weight will decrease, okay, but mass will remain same. A very common example I'm going to take, okay. Suppose all of you are there in my class, okay, and suppose I ask one of you, yes, I'm going to write it, okay. I think you have written this. See, just I ask one child, okay. Suppose, yes, what is your weight? But, pardon me. Yes, once again, I'm not able to listen. Oh, what do you say? Okay, 50 kg. His weight is how much? It is 50 kg. Yes. What is your weight? Okay. Her weight is how much? 40 kg. Okay. So his weight is 50 kg, her weight is 40 kg. Let us name them like this, okay? This is X and this is Y. Master X and Miss Y. Okay. Now, just tell me, are they right? No. Because this is not their weight, this is their mass. Okay. If you are to convert it to, into weight, then what you have to do? If you really want to find out the weight of Master X, then 50 into G, and G is suppose 9.8. So what you have to do? Multiply this. First we can write this 0. Then 8 5 ja 40. Then 0, 4 is carry. Then 9 5 ja 45 plus 4, 49. Decimal is after one place here. So what you will get? 490 Newton is the weight of Master X. What is the weight of Miss Y? 40 into 9.8. What you will get? Just write the 0 first. Then 4 8 ja 32. So 2 is there, 3 is carry. 9 4 ja 36. 36 plus 3, 39. Decimal is here. What you got? 392 Newton. Okay. So their weight is, her weight is 392 Newton. But she is trying to hide it, no? So she is telling only it's 40 kg. And he is also trying to hide, see? His weight is 490 Newton, but he is telling 50 kg. Okay. So that the number appears smaller. Is it like that? No. Actually, people are not aware of this. Okay. There are some other units of weight, okay? Let me tell you. This was just an example. The other examples of weight are units of weight are suppose a body is there, okay. Another of is actually this is kg weight. This is a unit of weight or unit of force, okay. Actually 1 kg weight is equals to 9.8 Newton. Actually what we do know, suppose a body has got suppose 50 kg, okay. If we will add here 50 kg, if we are adding here weight, okay, yes, weight, okay, then what will happen? It will become a unit of weight. Okay. Clear? And 1 kg weight is how much? 9.8 Newton. Then we have to multiply 9.8 if you want to get in Newton. Otherwise, it is another unit of weight. Okay. In the same way, you can write gram weight. Ground weight. I think single T is there, okay. Ground weight. 1 gram weight is how much? It is okay. 1 gram weight is equal to 980 dyne. What is dyne? It is serious unit of force, okay. Serious unit of force is dyne. Okay, you want to know? Okay, 1 Newton is equals to 10 to the power 5 dyne. Okay, that is the conversion. And 1 dyne is equals to 10 to the power minus 5 Newton. And let me tell you one more thing. Acceleration due to gravity in CGS is how much? It is 980 centimeter per second square. Okay. In CGS, value of G is 980 centimeter per second square. Got it? So just we came up with lots of things now. Okay. See, our next heading is Kepler's laws of planetary motion. Okay. In this Kepler's laws of planetary motion, here is the first law, which is also known as law of orbits. Okay. Now, what it states, just note down the heading, and then I will tell you the statement to write. Okay. Written the heading? Okay. Just start. It states that planet revolve around the sun in an elliptical orbit, comma, such that sun is situated at one of the foci. Okay. Sun is situated at one of the foci. Okay. See, you might be thinking, what is this elliptical orbit? What is foci? Let me tell you first. There is a geometrical figure, okay, which is somewhat like this, which we also call greater circle. Circle is a special case of this only, okay. And see, it has got two axes. This is called major axis. See, because this is longer, so it is called major axis. Okay. And this is called minor axis. Okay. Now, here we get a point that is called focus F1. Here we get another point that is called focus F2. So two focus are there. That's why, what is the plural of focus? It is foci or foci, F-O-C-I, foci. Okay. So, okay. Now, this major axis, no, the total length of the major axis is actually its length is given by A, and this is also given by A. This length is given by B, and this length is also given by B. Okay. So this is half of the minor axis. So what is our semi minor axis? Semi minor axis. What is the length? It is B. What is semi major axis? That is A. Okay. Semi minor axis is B, semi major axis is A. Understood? Where are the focus? Okay. Two foci are there. You understood? Okay. Now let's come back to this law. Just note it down this for understanding. Okay. I'm going to rub this now to explain this. So according to Kepler's first law, which is also known as law of orbits, the planets revolve on elliptical orbit. Okay, this is elliptical orbit, and one focus is here, one other focus is here. Okay, so planet is revolving on the elliptical orbit. This is the planet. Okay. And what about the position of sun? It has been told that you can keep the sun at any one of the foci. Okay, either you can keep here or you can keep here, wherever you want. Okay, you want to keep here? Okay, no problem. This is the sun. Okay, so in this way the sun is revolving around the planet is revolving around the sun. It's not problem. Let me redraw it here. somewhat like this. Okay. So see, the sun is there at one of the focus, and planet is revolving on the this elliptical orbit. Okay. Now see, there are two specific points. The point which is nearest to the sun on this orbit. Okay. The point of the orbit which is nearest to the sun is called perihelion. Okay. And the point on this orbit which is farthest from the sun is called aphelion. Okay. Now, when the planet comes to the perihelion, then what happens? More heat will be received by the planet. So it is the days of summer. Okay. When the planet reaches to aphelion or near about somewhere aphelion, then what will happen? The distance of the planet from the sun is very far. Okay. So less heat and light reaches to the planet, and so that is the days of winter. Getting my point? So many things we came to know due to this one law. Okay, now we'll go for the second law. Okay. Now see, this is Kepler's second law. Okay. Or we call it law of area. Okay. Write the heading, write the statement, and then we'll move ahead. I will explain it. Okay. Written the heading, start writing. It states that the line joining the sun and the planet sweeps, SWEEPS, sweeps equal area in equal intervals of time. Sweeps equal area in equal intervals of time. Full stop. That is areal velocity, AREAL, areal velocity, AREAL, areal velocity of the planet is constant. Okay. Now see, what does it mean? What does it mean? See, suppose this is the elliptical orbit. Here is your sun, the same position you decided earlier. Here is the planet. Okay. See, from the center of the sun to this line, suppose we draw an imaginary line. Imaginary line, there is no such line, no? We know very well. Suppose it was there at time t1. At time t2 it reached here. Okay. This line has come here. Now see, when the planet moved from here to here, then this line has swept this much area. Okay. This area it has swept. Okay. Suppose this area is A. Okay. Time taken is how much? T2 minus T1. So area A was covered in how much time? T2 minus T1. That we can say delta T. Okay. Delta T rather. Small time interval. Okay. Now according to this, what happens? This planet will cover same area in same interval of time. Suppose in first 10 seconds it is covering this much of area. So when it will reach when it will there in any part of this orbit, anywhere, again in same time it will cover same area. Okay. Now suppose it reaches here. Okay. Now in the same delta t time, it will cover same area. That means it has covered here this much distance. If it covers here also the same distance, will this area will be same to that one? Will it be? You can see this area. If same time it covers the same distance, then this area, if this area appears to be equal to this? No. Yes, that is correct. So it will not travel the same distance. It will cover such a distance that the area covered in same time remains constant. Okay. So in same delta t time, when the planet is here, it will go till this distance, so that the area becomes equal. This area, this is also area A. Okay, clear? So it will cover more area. But now in covering more area, what you find? It has covered more distance in same time. So when planet is covering more distance in same time, what does it means? Its speed has gone up. Yes, exactly right. Okay. So now you just draw this, that areal velocity A by delta t. Okay, that is A by delta t is equals to constant. Draw and write this. Drawn, written. Now you write. When the planet is away from the sun, then it moves slower. Because the force of attraction between the planet and the sun is less. Because force of attraction between the planet and the sun is less. So centripetal force is less. So centripetal force is less. Full stop. When the planet is near the sun, when the planet is near the sun, then it moves faster. Then it moves faster, comma, because the force between the planet and the sun is more, comma, so the centripetal force is also more. Okay, so it is slower here and moves faster over here. Clear? Got it? Now we'll go to the third law. Okay, see, this is the Kepler's third law of planetary motion. This is also called law of periods. Now we have to know something before starting this. Okay, but first you write the statement. It states that, first write the heading, written. Now you write the statement, written there. Now it states that the square of semi-major axis of orbit of a planet, it states that okay, it states that the cube of, sorry, it states that the cube of semi-major axis of orbit of a planet is directly proportional to the square of its time period of revolution. Full stop. What I have told? It states that the cube of same major axis of orbit of a planet is directly proportional to the square of its time period of revolution. Okay, now see, suppose a planet is there. Okay, this is so this, whatever time it takes to complete one complete revolution around the sun, that time taken to complete one revolution is called time period and given by t. Okay, and what is same major axis? Half of this much. Okay, so and that we denote by a. So according to this, what we can write? A cube is directly proportional to t square. Obviously, see, if this part is greater for some planet, suppose this is the planet, this is another planet. Okay, this is the sun, and this is the planet. So for this, same major axis is greater, so its orbit is longer. So planet will take more time to complete this. Okay, so its time period also will be more. Okay, so obviously, if you increase the same major axis, then size of the orbit will increase, and then planet will take more time to cover it. So its time period will also more. So this is obvious thing, okay, which we get. Now from here, what we can write? Suppose there are two planets. Okay, suppose there is some constant a cube. There is some constant k. No such constant. I'm going to give you, okay, here t square. Okay, suppose there is a planet for it. A1 square is there, and this is t1 is there. This is equation 1. For there is another planet whose same major axis is a2. So a2 cube is equals to same constant k. You will get right here t2 square. Okay, the time period of that second planet. This is equation 2. When you divide the equation 1 by equation 2, what you will get? a1 cube, sorry, a1 cube by a2 cube. K will cancel out. You will have t1 square by t2 square. This formula is very, very important sometimes. Okay, basically in a competitive case. Okay, so this was the third law. Got it? Any problem with this? I hope so. No problem. You are happy. Okay. Okay, that's all, my dear children. Okay. So we have done the Kepler's law, we have the mass and the weight. Okay. The remaining things and the numericals, some numericals we'll doing in the next video. Okay. Till then, take care. Bye bye.